Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, I'm Dr. John DeMartini, and you are listening to Empowered Living.
Hi, this is Byron Katie.
Hi, this is Greg Braden.
Hi, this is Mark Hope.
Hi, this is Dr. Manu Balmy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Pat Basili, the host of The Dr. Pat Show.
Hi, this is Dr. John Gray, author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus.
Hi, this is Joan Borisenko. I'm author of Your Soul's Compass.
Hi, this is Dr. Richard Moss, author of The Mandala of Being.
Hi, this is Stephen Mitchell.
Hi, this is Dan Millman, author of Way of the Peaceful Warrior.
Hi, this is James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy. You've tuned in to a radio show that can truly change your life. It's time to break free from the prison of your negative thoughts and release your greatest self. You're listening to Empowered Living with Steve Maraboli.
A Better Today welcomes you to Empowered Living, Life, the Truth, and Being Free with host, speaker, writer, and personal coach Steve Maraboli. In the next hour, Steve and his expert guests take you on a quest for truth and highlight philosophies and strategies that help you release your greatest self. It's time to focus on your potential instead of your limitations. Here's your host, Steve Maraboli.
Welcome to Empowered Living, Life, the Truth, and Being Free. I'm your host, Steve Maraboli. As always, you are welcome to participate with this wonderful show. The best way to participate is through AOL Instant Messenger. The screen name is ABT Radio Show. That's one word, ABT Radio Show. I know so many of you call in, and actually the call log's already full. And I very rarely take phone calls simply because I like to control the flow of the show, and it's so much easier to do so through the instant feedback. Just tell us who you are, where you're from, and go ahead and ask a question. Again, that's at AOL Instant Messenger, ABT Radio Show. I want to welcome all new and returning listeners. You know, I'm always honored to hear that this show gets heard all over the world. It's great to get the emails from the States. It's great to get emails from my brothers and sisters in the military, but it's also great to get emails from people in Europe, people in Africa, you know, being included in a new magazine out in Australia because people listening to the show. It's always an honor and a pleasure, so thank you all so much. We are the most listened to internet talk radio show in the USA, and it's great. It's thanks to all of you who participate in the show. Pass it along, tell others about it, and if you ever hear anything that you enjoy, anything that empowers you or inspires you, please pass it along. Download it, burn it to disk, do whatever you have to do to spread the word. That's the whole purpose of this show. I want to say hello to the A Better Today community, thousands of people across the globe participating, not just talking about change, but participating in it. Remember, one kind gesture, one person at a time, one day at a time. Do something today that will enhance the life of someone around you. Remember, you don't have peace, you are peace. You don't have success, you are success. It's something you do. So let's just participate in each other's evolution. Let's participate in making someone else's day great, wonderful, complimenting them, sharing your love and compassion with someone else. It's like Gandhi said, it's time to be the change you wish to see. So thank you all, A Better Today community, for continuously showing people, not just with your words and your intent, but your actions. Never forget that when your intent and your actions are in alignment, you're speaking directly to God. So keep up the good work, and thank you so much. We have an amazing show today. You know, I feel honored because the show has gained such popularity. If you've noticed, it's really become a meeting place for today's great thinkers and communicators, and I'm honored to host this. We've had an amazing list of guests, some of the highest selling authors and the deepest thinkers, and today we have both. We have Dr. Gary Chapman who will be joining us, and this is about relationships, not only relationships between you and your partner, your spouse, about just a relationship with yourself. Powerful books by Dr. Chapman. And, of course, my favorite, he's a pastor as well, so always interlacing the God in the stories and in the words, and it's absolutely wonderful. And I actually want to get to the show because we only have an hour with Dr. Chapman. Dr. Gary Chapman is a marriage counselor. He's a pastor, radio show host, and internationally best-selling author of numerous relationship-oriented books. Married for more than 35 years to Carolyn, Dr. Gary Chapman is just the man to turn to for help on improving or healing our most important relationships. His own life experience, plus over 30 years of pastoring and marriage counseling, led him to publish his first book in the Love Language series, The 5 Love Languages, How to Express heartfelt commitment to your mate. Millions of readers all across the globe credit this continual bestseller with saving their marriage by showing them simple and practical ways to communicate their love to their partner. His nationally syndicated radio program, A Growing Marriage, airs on over 100 stations across the USA. Dr. Chapman continues to be recognized as the leading author in biblical marriage counseling and works with thousands of couples struggling with relationship issues. We're honored to have him today on Empowered Living to share his work with us. Dr. Gary Chapman, welcome to the program.
Well, Steve, great to be with you. Looking forward to the hour.
Yeah, you know, it's a book. The Five Love Languages is a book that someone suggested to me. I wish I had read it a long time ago, but it really is a powerful book. And I'm just curious, is it something that you had developed in being married over 35 years? Is it something that you had developed out of necessity, or is there something you were always inspired to do?
Steve, this book came out of my counseling experience. I had been counseling probably for 15 years, and I realized I was hearing the same stories over and over and over in my office. You know, she would sit there and say, I just feel like he doesn't love me. And he would say, I don't understand her. You know, I do this and this and this and this, and she feels I don't love her. I don't get it, you know. And she would say, well, it is true. He does those things, but we don't ever talk. You know, or something else, you know. So I realized I was hearing the same stories and the same complaints over and over again. So what I did, I went through about 12 years of my counseling notes, the notes that I make when I'm counseling people. And I asked myself the question, when someone said to me, I feel like my spouse doesn't love me, what did they want? I had it in my notes. It was their complaints. And their answers fell into 5 categories. And I later called them the 5 love languages. And so I started giving lectures on this. I started using it in my counseling practice. And every time I did, it was like the lights came on for people. They got it, you know, that they have to learn to speak the love language of the other person. And so then I thought, you know, if I could put this in a book and write it in the language of the common person, maybe I could help people whom I'll never have an opportunity to see. So that's what motivated me to write the book. And, of course, I've just been thrilled with the response. It's sold almost 5 million copies in this country, been translated now in 37 languages around the world, and it's helped thousands of couples learn how to connect with each other emotionally. So it's been very, very encouraging.
You know what I find with this book, and it's aside from its brilliance, and I'm sure that it's going to continue to sell, it's very practicable. There's just something deeper here. In this book that I found reading it is that it gives you an insight to yourself, even if you're not in a relationship. It really does, you know, if you can identify yourself as I'm the affirmation guy, you know, words of affirmation are my primary love language. It's what fills my tank. You could kind of trace through your whole life and see where you've influenced your own life and positioned your own life for that reason. It's really an amazing guide on self-analysis.
Well, Steve, it is. You know, I was giving a lecture in one of the major prisons in the state of Louisiana. I had about 300 prisoners there, and I gave the lecture on the 5 love languages, but I couched it in the framework of, let me help you understand why you felt loved or did not feel loved by your parents as you were growing up. And when I got through with the lecture, a young man stood up, probably 32, 33 years old. He said, I want to thank you for coming here because for the first time in my life, I finally understand that my mother loves me. He said, as you gave that lecture, I realized that my primary love language is physical touch, and my mother never touched me. He said, in fact, the only time I ever remember my mother hugging me was the day I left for prison. And then he said, but you gave some other love languages. And I realized my mother did some of those things. She did love me. And he said, for the first time in my life, I realized my mother loved me. She didn't speak my language, and that's why I didn't feel it. But today, I know that she loved me. So, you know, it gives you a lot of insight into what has happened over the journey of your life if you understand that people have different love languages, and if they don't speak your language, you won't feel loved.